Hello everyone, I have a very special video for you because I'm here with my husband Kevin. Say hi Kevin.
Hi everybody, glad to be here.
And we're going to talk about Costa Rica because Kevin and I are currently spending some time in Costa Rica. We've been here for 1 month and we're going to be here for 3 additional months, which works out to escaping the Canadian winter, which is very, very cold. So we're just going to have a casual conversation about Costa Rica and I am going to answer all of your questions. Are you ready for the first question?
All set.
Okay, the first question. Samia wants to know, of course, about your experience with the Spanish language there. So you guys, we are living in a non-English speaking country. And Kevin, do you speak Spanish?
No, hardly at all.
We don't speak Spanish. So the language here is Spanish. That's what they speak. Now, how would you describe their level of English here in Costa Rica?
It's pretty good. I mean, a lot of people can easily get by in English and almost anywhere they can relate enough so that we can, speak a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of English and make ourselves known to each other.
Yeah, so we don't live in a touristy area, I should let you know. If you go to the beaches of Costa Rica, which are the most popular, the most touristy, you can speak 100% in English.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you went to a restaurant at one of the beaches, they will give you a menu in English. It's very English friendly. But we live outside of San Jose, which is the capital. And here, well, when we go to restaurants, do they speak to us in English or Spanish?
Always Spanish.
Always Spanish. So we walk up and we know how to say table for 2. What else do we know?
Hello.
Oh, of course, hello.
We know a lot of foods in Spanish, a lot of drinks in Spanish. We're pretty competent at reading a menu and understanding, for the most part, what it is and how it's going to be prepared. So, I think we feel pretty confident on that.
Yeah. Do you remember what the very first thing we learned in Spanish, aside from hello or goodbye? Do you remember what that was? I do.
Bathrooms, perhaps?
No.
Cerveza?
No, we were at a restaurant and we wanted to ask.
Oh, for the check, for the bill.
For the bill, yeah. And then so we used Google Translate and now we always ask for it, which is?
La cuenta.
La cuenta, por favor. So we know un poquito, a little Spanish, just enough basically to interact with people when we're at restaurants or at stores to have very basic conversations.
Yeah.
The next question comes from Paper. I'd like to see an English conversation between 2 native speakers. Hello. Could you please talk about the weather in Costa Rica? And thank you. Okay, so Kevin, you can answer this question, but maybe you can tell them a little bit about the weather where we are, maybe tell them a little bit about geographically where we are, and then compare that to the weather at the beaches where most of the tourists go.
Yeah, it's funny, we were having the same conversation with a work colleague yesterday.
Oh, really?
So we're in Central Valley, what's called Central Valley in Costa Rica, which essentially is kind of around a set of volcanoes that most of which have been dormant for many, many years. But we're elevated is the important part. So in Central Valley, the weather is very, very consistent. Almost any time of year, it fluctuates just a couple of degrees during the day and a couple of degrees during the night. So, right now, typically it's 18, 19 degrees at night at the low point, and typically it's 24, 25 degrees during the day. And it's pretty much every day. Now, right now, it's also the dry season, so it's even more consistent because you don't have the humidity. So it's kind of beautiful every day. For the most part, sunny every day. The beach is at obviously a much lower elevation, so it gets much hotter, much more humid.
All right, our next question, I like this one from Serene. Hola. Hello, hola. What was the most unusual thing or custom you have seen in Costa Rica? Are you learning a bit of Spanish? That was the second question. So yes, we're learning a little Spanish, un poquito. So Kevin, first the most unusual thing or custom you've seen in Costa Rica. Ooh, I like this one.
Well, one of the most unusual customs I think that we've experienced is the amount of time that Costa Rica takes off in the new year.
Oh, interesting.
So, we just came in, and I guess there's been a couple times where we've come into Costa Rica just around the new year. And in Canada and in the US, you might take a day or two off around New Year's, but that's it. It's after Christmas holidays and everybody's kind of getting back to work. In Costa Rica, we've experienced that at least the entire week after New Year's Day is a holiday, and all the stores are closed, most of the businesses are closed, and people are just off that entire week. So it's, for me at least, that was very unusual.
Yeah, because we came down on what, January 2nd or 3rd, and we had almost no furniture, but we had to wait until January 9th or even 12th, something like that, just to go to the stores because everything was closed. Yeah, oh, interesting. I never thought of that. As for me, I would say, we're pedestrians, which means we walk everywhere. We don't own a car because where we live, there are stores, restaurants, everything we need in walking distance. So we walk everywhere. And for me, it's the fact that motorcycles don't follow traffic rules. That would be a custom that I would never see in Canada. A motorcycle in Canada, you would have to follow all the traffic rules. If there's a red light, you have to stop, but the motorcycles don't seem to follow the rules. And there are many, many motorcycles, way more than we would have in Canada. So you have to be very careful as a pedestrian, because if you're crossing the road, a motorcycle might just go. So you have to be very careful. But now that I know that that's a custom, I just make sure I look very carefully before I cross. So it's just good that I know that.
It's true, it's true.
Our next question comes from Sanjukta Basu. Greetings. I would like to listen to the conversation about the lifestyle you're having in Costa Rica. Very good question. So Kevin, why don't you just maybe talk about a typical day of your lifestyle here in Costa Rica and maybe how that would compare to what you're doing, what you would be doing if you were in Canada, perhaps.
Okay. So I guess one of the reasons that we came down to Costa Rica is because of the weather, obviously. So we're trying to incorporate that into our daily routine as much as we can. We are both still working full-time from Costa Rica. It's not a vacation for us. We're not out sightseeing every day. We stay in a place where it's very high in terms of the level of amenities and services, in other words, like internet, things like that. So on a daily basis, we tend to get up earlier than we ever would at home. Yeah. A lot earlier because it's light out earlier. So it feels like you're energized and you want to get up. We work our work day, and after that, while it's still light out, we usually go out someplace. We walk somewhere to a cafe, or just for a walk for exercise, or to shop someplace, or whatever the case may be. But we're always out every day, which is probably the biggest difference, because in Canada this time of year, we would be inside almost every day, and it'd be more of a rarity to go out. So I think that's one of the biggest lifestyle changes, boosts that we have here, for me at least.
Yeah, and I really like that you mentioned that we start our day earlier, because it's not just us. A lot of people here seem to start their day earlier. So we wake up at 5:30 a.m. and we go to the gym. There's a gym in our condo building on the 4th floor. We're on the 2nd floor. So we walk up 2 floors and go to the gym at 5:30 a.m. in a small condo with 30 units. There are 2 to 3 other people already working out in the gym at 5:30 a.m. And then we have our breakfast on the patio at about 6:30. And there are so many people going to their cars. It's just very active early in the morning. Whereas in North America, the standard day starts at 9 a.m. and people wake up around 7:30, 8:30 just to get to the office at 9. So really interesting you mentioned that. And I agree. One thing I've noticed in our lifestyles, we are way more active here. We walk so much more. We go out almost every day just to go walk to get groceries, walk to have a coffee, things like that.
Yeah, our activity level has probably increased even from being at home in the summertime, quite honestly.
Well, he keeps track of our steps with his watch. So on average, how many steps are we doing right now?
10 to 13,000 a day.
10 to 13,000 a day. And at home, it would probably be 3,000, 2,000. It's a huge difference. Okay, our next question from Jay. Did you experience some culture shock? Good question. I'll let you answer first. Kevin always answers first.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. We had been to Costa Rica a number of times in the past, and we had stayed here for almost a year another time. So not really this time did we experience, or at least I didn't experience too much of a culture shock. We did experience a lot of changes from the last time we've been here. And I think one of the most important changes for us, just because of the way we live, is Uber. Last time that we were here, it was really challenging to even tell a taxi where we were going because there's no addresses in Costa Rica. And if the driver didn't know where we were going or was familiar with that place, it was really challenging to tell them where it was. Here now with Uber, it's just made our life so much easier, and it's so inexpensive in Costa Rica. So not really a culture shock, but certainly a cultural phenomenon that's really improved our lifestyle here in Costa Rica.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I wouldn't have thought of it, but that's why you always go first and raise good points. But no addresses. They don't have addresses here, but it works. So when we first came to Costa Rica, our very first time, I would say that was the most shocking thing, because how does it work when you don't have an address? But somehow it works. Every building has a name. So you say the name of your area and then the name of your building, and then that's how people find you, or that's how you would get an Uber, a taxi. So we filmed the entire interview, and as I was editing it, I realized we forgot to answer a very important question. Kevin, what did we forget?
We forgot to talk about the food in Costa Rica.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about the food. Of course you want to know, so Kevin, what would you say about Costa Rican food?
Well, it's just such a great climate for all sorts of fruits and vegetables, super close to the ocean, lots of really fresh fish, which is absolutely delicious. So good. But of course, for me, as you may know, that I roast coffee. And so Costa Rica is really a coffee paradise. We've been to coffee plantations. We have sampled coffee beans from all over the country. And I'm really enjoying tasting all different types of coffees in Costa Rica. It's fabulous.
And I'm very grateful because I get to drink delicious coffee that Kevin prepares for me every morning. Yeah, the tropical fruit Kevin mentioned, things we don't really get in Canada or that are extremely expensive. Pineapples, mangoes, fresh avocados, lots of things I don't know how to pronounce or I've never even seen before, but amazing tropical fruit. Now, I'll let you know that the typical dish in Costa Rica is called a casado. And it's what the locals eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a slight variation. So it includes rice and beans, which they call gallo pinto. But sometimes the rice and beans are mixed together usually for breakfast, and other times they're served separately. And I think they're only called gallo pinto when they're mixed together, but I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, the casado has rice and beans, and it has plantains, and then it has a piece of protein. So for breakfast, it has eggs. And then for lunch, it will have usually chicken. I think you can get meat, but chicken is very common here. And then you can also get a piece of fish. And then the same thing as well for dinner, chicken or a piece of fish, and maybe some sort of meat, but I'm not too sure. So that's the local dish. It's called a casado, and it is delicious. Our next question comes from Abu. And well, Sylvia has a relating question, so I'm going to put them both together. So my question to you and your lovely husband is, what made you choose this country among all the countries in the world? That's great. And then Sylvia asked, why did you decide to move to Costa Rica? And is it a temporary thing, or do you plan to do it in the following years? So Kevin, why did you choose Costa Rica?
I think for the most part, weather, stability, and the amenities. All three of those things, I mean, I think is really the reasons that we're here. And we knew we wanted it to be a wintertime spot. How about you?
Yeah, same thing. So I don't think we mentioned this, but it's probably important that you should all know that we lived in Costa Rica for 1 year in this exact same area we're in now 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, we lived in Costa Rica for 1 year. So we're very familiar with the area, which is why right now, maybe we're not experiencing as much culture shock, or it was very easy for us to adjust. But previously, when we decided to move to Costa Rica for 1 year, there were certain things. It had to be close to Canada if we needed to go home for an emergency situation for family. Same time zone as Eastern time, because we work in Eastern time. An easy language we could adapt to, or a level of English. Safe. Costa Rica is the safest country in Central America, and we needed to feel safe. Weather as well, like you said, and just a feeling of comfort in the country. And Costa Rica gave us, it checked all the boxes.
That's right.
Oh, and I forgot Sylvia's follow-up question. Is it a temporary thing, or do you want to do it in the following years? So yeah, it's our plan to do this every winter. So we're very excited about this. It's been in our minds for 10 years since we spent that 1 year in Costa Rica. We always talk about it. We always think about it. So it is something we plan to do every year. Great question. Okay, our next one. Irina wants to know, oh, great question. Thank you, Irina, for asking about my kitties, because I love them so much. How were you able to transfer your cats there? Did you buy flight tickets for them? Can I answer this one?
Of course.
Okay, so there was quite a bit of paperwork that we needed to fill out. And the paperwork was just showing that our cats have certain vaccines, and it's the Costa Rican government that requires certain vaccines. So for our cats, they had to have a rabies vaccine and 2 other vaccines. So we had to take our cats to the vet 30 days before our trip, get the certificates, and then we had to take the certificates to our Canadian government agency. They had to be officially stamped, and then our Canadian government agency sent them to the government agency in Costa Rica, and then we had documents for the cats. So when we landed in Costa Rica with the cats, we had to give the documents to Costa Rica Customs. So it was quite a lengthy process, and before we left, I was quite overwhelmed by how much work was involved, but in reality, it was a very smooth process. We didn't have any issues, and Costa Rica as a country, they love animals. Again, in our condo building, how many dogs would you say there are?
Almost everybody seems to have a dog, quite honestly, dog or cat.
Dog or cat. And if you go to restaurants, a lot of people have their dogs with them on the patios, not inside the restaurants, but on the patio. So it's a very pet-friendly country. But yes, we also had to buy a ticket for our cats for the plane. It was $100 per cat that we had to pay the airline to bring the pets on the plane.
Yeah.
But we got them here.
We got them here.
And they're adjusting. I think they experienced culture shock, but they're adjusting. So thank you, Irina. I could talk for hours about my kitties. Okay, Tarek, you can field this one. A description of nature and people. Okay. Shaina also wants to know about Costa Rican people. And so why don't you take nature and then I'll take the people.
Okay.
Okay. Your impressions.
So Costa Rica is renowned for being one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. So nature is literally everywhere. Everything from plants and trees that are literally right outside our patio to tons of animal species. Here we see a lot of birds, but previous in the country, we've seen everything from sloths to monkeys to crocodiles to you name it. But it's just a plethora of wildlife in Costa Rica. It's beautiful that way.
And you mentioned it before, but they have volcanoes, active volcanoes, rainforest, cloud forest, amazing beaches, amazing hiking. Costa Rica is known as a destination for ecotourism. So if you love nature, you love being outside, definitely you must visit Costa Rica. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Now I will answer the question about the Costa Rican people. So fun fact, they call themselves ticos, and that's what they call themselves. And because in Spanish they have masculine and feminine, so tico for men and tica for women. And they are just lovely. They are so friendly, so welcoming, so warm, and they're easygoing, I would say. Like they don't, when we are trying to express our ideas in Spanish and we're doing just a terrible job, they seem to have fun with it. They don't seem upset or angry that we're doing such a bad job trying to communicate in Spanish. They try to help us and they laugh, we laugh, and they just seem to be very relaxed, easygoing, friendly, welcoming people. They have this expression across the whole country called Pura Vida, and it's like just saying pure life is the direct translation. It's just a concept of embracing and enjoying the beauty of life, perhaps not getting so upset about small little things, just living in the moment. So it's very a relaxed culture.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin, this one's for you. Oh, this is a really good question. We'll both answer it. I remember when I saw this. Jforrest wants to know, if you were given only one option to choose between Canada and Costa Rica, which country would you choose to live in forever? Oh, what a good question. Okay, Kevin, Canada or Costa Rica? State your answer and then explain why.
That's a tough one. The problem, I guess the situation is we have a lot of family and friends and stuff in Canada. I mean, so right now we're probably, at least, I feel we're probably a little bit more Canadian centric than Costa Rica. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to give up either, but I think that just for everything, I'd have to choose Canada, but only because of the roots that we have there at this stage. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. It's, you feel just such an attachment to where you're born. And because, like Kevin said, our friends are there, our families, there's so much history is there. So because you included that one word, forever? I would have to choose Canada because I couldn't go forever without seeing my friends and family, which are in Canada. But if you didn't include that one word forever, ooh, could be a different answer. Actually, I joke with Kevin a lot. I'm like, what if I don't want to go back? What if I just want to stay here? So who knows? Okay, the last question. I included this one because it made me laugh when I saw it. Alex said, I'll let you answer. Well, first he said, your smiles light up. Aww. It seems you're having a great time in Costa Rica. We really are. But I wonder, you can answer this.
All right.
Is it legal to escape the winter? Isn't that cheating while us poor mortals have to endure the cold?
Well, it is cheating. I guess that is true. But, you know, it's funny. During the COVID times, we stopped doing a lot of our winter activities. So, you know, like we were pretty avid snowboarders before and snowshoers, sometimes without snowshoes. And, you know, we've just kind of lost all that. So Costa Rica seems like a very natural progression for us now in the wintertime.
Yeah, but you're right, Alex. I do, in a sense, feel like I'm cheating, especially since all my friends are at home enduring really terrible cold. So I feel a little bad sending them pictures of us enjoying Costa Rica when I know they're stuck in the cold. So I do feel bad. I do feel like I'm cheating and being a bad Canadian by escaping the winter. But here's my solution. Come visit us. We would love to have visitors. We would love to show you around and let you experience what Costa Rica is like. So if you want to come visit us in Costa Rica, we would love to spend time with you. So let us know. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for your questions. They were amazing. And we're just very happy to share our experience with you. And we'll keep posting pictures, and feel free to ask us any questions. And honestly, I hope we'll see you here one day soon. And to everyone who's Costa Rican, thank you for welcoming us into your country. We really appreciate being here, and you have a beautiful country. So thank you for sharing it with us. Bye, everyone. Sending you lots of love.
Bye-bye. Thank you.